Welcome back. I'm still with Mr. Volker Bromund. He is the Executive Director of Prime Consultancy, and we are talking about attracting foreign investors. And then, we just talked about the current investment climate in Indonesia, and then about the tax allowance facility that was imposed by the government to be effective starting on 6 May. And then talking about the challenges here. What will be the challenges Indonesia will face in 2015 especially?
For investors, it's very important, the overall business climate. And for the Indonesian government, I think it's very important that all ministries and all the administration goes into the same direction. And it doesn't help if one minister gives the tax allowance, but on the other side, for example, the immigration department makes immigration for expat and the KITAS process even more complicated. In Thailand, what I hear is you get a KITAS for the entire family within 3 hours. In Indonesia, it takes between 6 weeks to 2 months nowadays to get a KITAS. Yeah. Also, for example, the public discussion if foreigners which are necessary to build up a business here for the investors have to speak Bahasa. Of course, it would be nice if everybody speaks Bahasa, but on the other side, the foreign investors, they bring in specialists, typically for the first 1 or 2 years. And then they move on to the next country. If they would have to learn in each country the language just to stay there for 2 years, that would be impossible. So for foreign investors to bring in their specialists and, by the way, ask them before they come to learn Bahasa, yeah, I think that's something which is not very attractive. These are all small things, but overall, all these small things, they add up to the business climate. And if Indonesia is not pulling the strings all in one direction and all the administration is pro foreign investment, then I see still problems getting foreign investors here in.
So what we need now is about the synchronization between Investment Coordinating Board or BKPM, who wants to ease the investors to invest in Indonesia, and the government, some of the institutions in the government who wants to make it more difficult.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Another example is, for example, the education system. Yeah. I think Indonesia has changed in the last 1 or 2 years the curricula that the primary children don't learn any longer English. Yeah. So to have a good workforce and an international workforce, you need to have a good education. That means that your staff has to speak also English. Yeah. Another area is for example, the universities. What I know is that it's very difficult for universities to bring in foreign professors to, let's say, beef up the knowledge in the universities. And so you have to improve on the education side and bring in foreign talent. Yeah. Indonesians, 200,000 and more people are going every year for medical treatment to Singapore or somewhere else. It's not good. It's not because the facilities are not good here. You have also MRIs here. You have Siemens is selling the same equipment what they sell in Singapore, in Indonesia. But you are not allowed as a foreign doctors to work in a hospital in Indonesia. So the confidence of the patients in the, let's say, doctors is abroad a little bit higher than in Indonesia. If Indonesia would open up and has a medical system where also foreign doctors can practice here, that would, let's say, give confidence to the overall also investment climate. If you have a good education system, if you have a good health system, investors will come.
And again, it's about the limitation in Indonesia. Well, clearly, Indonesia needs more fresh money. I mean, a fresh investment from the foreign investors here. But then, what strategic actions needed by the government in order to boost the investment from the foreign investors? I mean, in terms of the regulation and the policies.
Again, the government itself can give the framework, but investors look to the business climate and look in the potential the country gives. So if the population, like in Indonesia, is young, it's very fast growing, there is a huge demand, the gross domestic product is increasing, they will come. The government can support and accelerate it by good policies, and policies which all pull in the same direction and best foreign investors, yeah, and that can be in all segments. Yeah, but important is the overall feel-good factor of an investor to come to a country and not to feel threatened by the administration, by the court system, by the police, by the tax office, but they feel welcome, and there is a even level playing field amongst foreign investors with local investors.
Okay, so we hope for the Indonesian business climate to be more conducive in terms of attracting foreign investors to come to Indonesia. All right, so Mr. Volker Bromund, thank you so much for your time here. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
That ended our discussion with Mr. Volker Bromund. He's the Executive Director of Prime Consultancy. We were talking about attracting foreign investors, and in the next segment, we still have some more news and business updates. Stay with Revenews International. Thank you.